Boxing fans have flocked to the hustle and bustle of New York City and Madison Square Garden's Felt Forum for a ringside seat to cheer prize fights. It's 1992, and TVKO rings in the new year and inaugurates the Garden's newly renovated Paramount Theater with a spectacular boxing triple-header. Act 1, Olympic medalist Roy Jones Jr. continues his surge in the professional ranks. Since turning pro, his record is 15-0, all by knockout. Tonight, he faces a tough test and a very seasoned opponent, the man who ended Mark Breland's career, Jorge Vaca. The former world champion has made an impressive comeback, and with 52 professional fights, is anxious to add knockout number 37 to his illustrious record. Then, the drama continues as two leading men take the stage. Olympic gold medalist and the number 1 ranked WBA light heavyweight contender Andrew Maynard enters the ring and hopes to increase his recent knockout streak to 6 as he puts his NABF title on the line against the 1984 Olympic gold medalist and former middleweight champion Frank Tate. Tate holds the IBF Intercontinental light heavyweight title, and after tonight's challenge, he plans to walk away with one more. Act 3 showcases our main event, a world championship super middleweight bout. IBF champion Darren Schoolboy Van Horn has been busy hitting the books and his opponents. Van Horn is a graduate of the School of Hard Knocks. He's done his homework and plans to make the grade that will unify his division. But first, he must solve tonight's problem. Former world champion Iran Barkley. Barkley back on track for a $1 million payday, and this gritty veteran has a lesson plan that includes a pop quiz as TVKO presents the fight of the month for January. We are live from New York City and the Paramount Theater at Madison Square Garden for TVKO's January Fight of the Month. Tonight, the Big Apple hosts a spectacular triple header. First up, Olympic medalist Roy Jones Jr. takes on former middleweight champion Jorge Vaca in a 10-round junior middleweight bout. Then, it's a 12-round light heavyweight title bout as NABF champion Andrew Maynard takes on the former IBF middleweight champion Frank Tate. In our main event, Darren Schoolboy Van Horn puts his super middleweight championship on the line against former world champion Iran Blade Barkley. The Paramount Theater of Madison Square Garden, formerly the Felt Forum, has never looked better. This is a scene tonight as New Yorkers come to see the first boxing event in this newly refurbished hall to see championship boxing action once again. Bill Cosby on hand, one of the many dignitaries to see the boxing action this first time in 1992. Gene Hackman, an avid fight fan as well. He joins us on this first fight of 1992. Hello again, everyone. I'm Cambrell Marshall. Welcome once again to our first boxing action of 1992. And you know, it's really fitting that we begin in Madison Square Garden, the site of so many super battles in boxing history up to now. Well, we expect some fireworks here tonight. All of the boxers we spoke to openly declared they know very little about backing up. We expect fireworks beginning with our first fight. Roy Jones Jr., the junior middleweight, he of course an Olympic medalist who won his silver medal in 1988 amid some controversy following here to the Big Apple. He weighed in yesterday 2 pounds above the limit. His opponent tonight, Jorge Vaca, said flatly, "I will not fight." That fight was off until just a few hours ago when Vaca said, "Okay, I will get in the ring." So it's on again. So it's time for us to get it on. Our first fight of 1992. Junior middleweight action, Roy Jones Jr. stepping into the ring against Jorge Vaca. It's fight time for 1992, and as always, for the action, let's go now to ringside and my colleague, WNBC New York sportscaster Lynn Berman. Lynn?
Thank you, Cambrell Marshall. And excitement is in the air. The fabled Felt Forum, and this is the grand reopening as the Paramount, and we are thrilled to be here for this first night of action. And forget Hackman, forget Cosby. We've got Joe Goosen.
Lucky you, lad.
And Joe, Jorge Vaca, his bags were packed. He was at him here.
Right.
He said he was not fighting. What turned it around?
Well, I believe that when he had to give up that 2 pounds to Roy Jones, he really didn't want to give that weight. He decided that he was going to leave town. The Dubas had him up in a meeting this morning, convinced him somehow to stay, and he's fighting tonight.
All right, Roy Jones Jr. at 15-0. He's been criticized for the lack of quality opponents, but he has yet to fight as crafty a veteran as this Jorge Vaca.
No, exactly. Jorge Vaca is a rough and tumble veteran, but Roy Jones is a tremendous athlete, should have won the gold medal in the Olympics, and, you know, he's a talented athlete, and this is going to be his biggest test of date tonight, Jorge Vaca.
We'll start, as always, with our Goosen's Corner feature, an inside look at the boxers, and let us begin with Jorge Vaca.
Exactly. Jorge Vaca, you know, this is his second appearance on TVKO. The last one, he knocked out Mark Breland. He had to use a lot of head movement, and tonight he's got to do the same. Jones is a fast puncher, and he's got to use that head movement. Keep the pressure on, and when he does get inside on Jones, rough him up like he did with Breland. Hopefully, you know, take him out of his game plan, and that way he may win the fight.
And Jorge Vaca has made it into the ring, which is a major accomplishment based on today's developments. 44-8, 1 draw, 36 knockouts. Keep in mind, 7 of his 8 losses were knockouts, many of those because of cuts. So keep that in mind as you look at the face of the veteran Vaca. And now, let us check out Goosen's Corner for the youngster Roy Jones Jr.
Really a superb athlete and tremendous hand speed and can hit. He's got 15 fights, 15 knockouts. But tonight, it's a pressure cooker situation for him. He's got to relax against Jorge Vaca. Use a lot of angles, keep Vaca in the middle of the ring, and don't waste punches. If he's extended the 10 rounds, he better be in shape, and he can't afford to waste any punches.
And Roy Jones Jr., talented young fighter from Pensacola, Florida, 15-0 with 15 knockouts. He basically disappeared from public view, but he said he now wants to make his move. And this is his biggest fight, biggest name, biggest city venue to date, Roy Jones Jr., who lost that heartbreaking. He was robbed of that gold medal, frankly, his sole career. And now the tale of the tape for our 2 fighters, 10 years age difference and many, many more fights experience for the veteran. Jorge Vaca, similar in height, weight a source of controversy. Jones well over 160 by now with the weigh-in having occurred last night, and the equal reach at 74 inches. Our New York State rules for our first fight tonight, it's a 10-round fight, 10-point must system. Standing 8 count is in effect, as is the 3 knockdown rule. Cannot be saved by the bell in any round. The doctor or referee can stop the fight. And right now, let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the pre-fight introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, boxing is alive and well in the Big Apple. Welcome to the Paramount here in New York City's Madison Square Garden, where tonight, Main Events in association with Madison Square Garden presents professional boxing for your entertainment. All the bouts tonight are sanctioned by the New York State Athletic Commission. The 3 judges assigned by the commission for this first bout, doing the scoring on a 10-point must system, are Don Ackerman, Don Nodeker, and Barbara Perez. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of all the action, referee Luis Rivera. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner. He's wearing the gold trunks with black trim and weighs an even 158 pounds. From Pensacola, Florida, this 1988 Olympic silver medalist is undefeated with a record of 15-0. All by knockout victory, ladies and gentlemen, presenting Roy Jones Jr. And across the ring in the blue corner, his opponent wearing the green trunks with white trim, weighing in at an even 155 pounds, from Guadalajara, Mexico. He's ranked number 2 in the world by the WBC and brings an outstanding professional record, 44-8-1, 36 of his 44 victories by KO. Ladies and gentlemen, Jorge Vaca.
Shake hand. I want a clean fight. I don't want grabbing punches, no kidney punches, no low punches. Any knockdown, go to the further neutral corner and I stay there until I tell you to come out. 3 knockdown, the fight end the fight automatically. Listen to my command and protect yourself at all times. Good luck.
Roy Jones Jr. says if Vaca decides to fight, it will not go 5 rounds. Vaca, we saw on TVKO last September, stunning ending to Mark Breland's career in Sacramento.
Vaca will fight. There's no doubt about it. So if that's the case, Jones thinks he won't last 5.
It is scheduled for 10 middleweights. And Vaca is fighting, comes right after him. Goes right after Jones.
He did, and he caught him with a nice little short right hand and hit a few good body shots already.
And Jones showboating a little bit, craning his neck out towards Vaca, and then smacks him with a right hook.
And Roy Jones has got a tremendous left hook.
Oh, yeah. Look at the quickness of his hands, Joe.
Vaca has got to keep that right hand up. I just noticed right there at the beginning of the round, he threw his own left hook, did Vaca, and dropped that right hand. If he does that, the speed of Jones may catch up to him there. That's exactly where he had Breland, this type of situation right here.
He had Breland helpless, as we hope to show you a bit later on. Jones at various times, because of his speed, has been compared to an Ali for quickness or a Sugar Ray Leonard. He definitely has the speed advantage over Vaca. Low left hand thrown by Jones. Oh, sharp right hand.
Well, Vaca just got out of the way of that right hand, tried to counter with his own, and came close himself, but neither of them landed solidly.
Jones lands against the ropes. And the left hand, down he goes.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
That's it. That's the fight right there. And it was that right hand that was down by his waist. Got clipped with the left hook sitting on the ropes, Len.
In stunning fashion, Roy Jones Jr. goes to 16-0 with 16 knockouts with the big left hook. Vaca wanted to leave town and hurry this afternoon. He'll certainly have the opportunity this evening.
Well, I'll tell you, he's gonna leave town with his head hanging, because that's really a devastating knockout, and that really could spell the end of Jorge Vaca in this division. Here we go. Here's a little replay of the setup here. Jones leans in with a right hand left hook, uppercut. This is where he had Vaca on the ropes, where Vaca shouldn't have been. Really nothing tremendously solid except a few uppercuts landed in that sequence. But here's the knockout here, where Vaca's against the ropes again, and he's going to drop that right hand, and look, one left hook, bingo. That was it. You see the devastating power with just that one shot there. We're going to get another angle of this. Here's Jones, the right hand to the body, and Vaca trying to counter with his own right uppercut. But his hands are dangerously low for sitting on the ropes with a guy with this much speed like Jones, and bingo. That hurts. Here we go. One last look at this, and I'm not sure if it's the same angle or possibly a different angle. It is a different angle. Look at that. Jones just countered right off of Vaca's jab and leaned in and threw that crushing left hook, and that was it. Lights out.
So those who criticized Roy Jones's quality of opponents will take a closer look now.
When you're as good an athlete as Jones is and as much talent as he has, which we even saw going back to the Olympics, you knew that he's ahead of his time, really, even for 15 fights. He's real composed. You saw how relaxed he was, and he's got, I mean, devastatingly quick speed.
Great left hook from Roy Jones Jr.
You know, this kid,
Jorge Vaca.
This kid Jones is going places because Vaca doesn't usually get knocked out that easily.
All right, let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Luis Rivera reaches the count of 10. At 1:45 of the very first round here in the Paramount of Madison Square Garden, this young man's record now, 16-0, 16 knockouts for Roy Jones Jr.
He hot dogged just a little bit early in that first round, and then apparently one of these guys who will back up his actions with a solid left hand. And Vaca still sitting on a stool, just contemplating what has happened here.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause for Jorge Vaca from Guadalajara, Mexico. He's going to be all right. Let us give him a hand.
It has been a tumultuous day for Jorge Vaca. The CompuBox for the entire fight Roy Jones Jr. landing nearly half of his 47 punches thrown. Vaca actually threw a bit more, but you see his land percentage. None of them did any damage to Roy Jones Jr. And then Jones, the only real statistic that counts, that big left hook at 145 that ended it of the first round. And Joe Goossen's up in the ring with the winner.
Fight's over. I'm here with Roy Jones. Roy,
yeah.
Did you think you could put him out this early with one punch like that?
Well, I told you yesterday that it would be a very short fight once I figured out that I had everything on course, and I seen that they was making a few excuses. And I told you and everybody else that came to my room, I said, if he does take the fight, it won't be a long fight.
Now, do you think this erases a lot of questions in people's minds about the quality of opposition? And now that you've had this type of opposition, who would you like to step up to next?
Well, you know, I don't know yet. It's according to what my staff says. You know, me and my staff have mutual agreements on everything, and I listen to what they recommend or what they think should go on or what they have in store already, and then I'll think it over, and if I like it, I'll say. If I don't, then I'll say what I think. But right now, I'll just concentrate on this one fight. So until I get home and get me a little rest, we'll go. After that, we'll go through some negotiations, and then we'll talk about it.
All right. Was there any time in the fight that you were concerned about the power of Vaca or about his pressure that he was putting on you, or did you think you had it the whole time?
Vaca threw some real good punches at me. He even caught me with one uppercut. That was a real good uppercut, and I decided that I started to move around and say, well, let me box a minute. Then I thought about it, and I said, well, I better go ahead on and do what he want to do. He want to trade. Let's trade. We'll find out who got the best lick. And that's what we did, but he couldn't take my trade. And I knew he wouldn't. As soon as I warmed up, you know, I knew I was going to have things flowing, and I would get him. And I'd like to say hi to my mom and everybody back at home and everybody everywhere, all my ball buddies and everything.
Let me get back to what happened earlier today, or yesterday, I should say, at the weigh-in. The weight. What was the problem with your weight? Why were you 2 pounds over, and how did you guys finally rectify the matter?
Well, I wasn't 2 pounds over. My contract said 157. I was about 157. Really, when I weighed, I was about 157, maybe an eighth, you know. But then I went and did a couple things to get the eighth off, and I got over there and it said like 157 and a half, close to 158. And the guy kept pushing the scale over, and they kept arguing. But they have been arguing about the 157 after. That's what I've been seeing on the contract the whole time the day before. We had a press conference Thursday. Thursday. And they started arguing. They seen me Thursday about the 157 and 156. But I paid no mind. I just kept working, and I worked hard to make that weight. And you know, if he would have turned it down, I just would have said, hey, well, I did my part.
One more quick question. Is this your last fight in the 50s? Are you moving up to the 60-pound division now?
Maybe I will. Maybe I will. I don't know yet. It's according to what comes up.
All right. Okay, Roy, tremendous fight. Congratulations, and good luck to you in the future. Hope to see you again. Len, back to you now.
All right, thank you, Joe Goossen. The thought from many quarters was that Roy Jones Jr. was being taken too slowly by his dad, Roy Jones Sr. It doesn't always work when a father manages a son. But Roy told us this morning, the son, that he would like to fight for the championship within 6 to 8 months. Well, so he doesn't want to move so slowly now after all, and off what he showed us here at 145 of the first round with that left hook. I'd like to see him go for the title. He said he's not afraid of a James Toney or any of the other fine middleweights in America. So big win for Roy Jones Jr. He called it his coming out party, and it was certainly a victorious celebration for him this evening in the first round. That's the story from ringside on our first brief fight of the evening. Let's go back to our host, Cambrell Marshall.
Thank you very much, Lynn Berman, and I want to remind everyone, of course, the main event this evening, super middleweight champion, IBF super middleweight champion, Darren Schoolboy Van Horn, defending his championship against Iran Barkley. So, Roy Jones Jr. takes another step toward what he hopes will be a world championship someday. And Joe Goossen hit on something, the very last question he asked about this being the last fight perhaps in the 50s. A very good close source to the Jones camp told me that as of Saturday he was at 168 and he came down to 158. It's a lot of weight to lose. So, and last night he told us that he would move up to the 60. So we'll have to wait and see what comes in store for Roy Jones Jr. in the middleweights. You know, 1991, you think about it, for the heavyweights, it was a year of the comeback. Former heavyweight champion George Foreman came back. He went the distance with champion Evander Holyfield. He didn't win the decision, but he certainly proved that he could stay in with the champions of today. Now another former champion is coming out, hoping to make his debut on TVKO next month. That former champion Larry Holmes is coming out. He's been taking on a lot of fighters as he gets ready for this, but this fight coming up on February 7th is as tough as yet. He's taking on merciless Ray Mercer.